Hi dear viewers, welcome to 11th session of Informatics for BA English. In today's session we are going to discuss about a very important operating system called Linux operating system. Let us see what are the importance of Linux operating system, who has developed this operating system, what are the history and what are the main tools used in Linux operating system. So let us start with the definition of Linux operating system. It is assembled under the model of free and open source software development and distribution. This is a kind of operating system developed for free usage. I'll discuss you later what is free software and what is open source software. Anyway, this is mainly assembled under the model of free and open source software development and distribution. There are many open source and free source software are developed and distributed, and now also they are distributing. So this is also a kind of free and open source software. It was originally developed as a free operating system for Intel 86 based personal computers. Previously it was actually developed for free operating system, developed as free operating system for Intel 86 based personal computers. Now it has been used for many other hardwares. It is not only for Intel 86 based personal computers. This has been used for many different vendors hardwares. Okay, the development of Linux is one of the most prominent example of free and open source software collaboration. I told you it's a prominent example of free and open source software collaboration because there are millions of users for Linux operating system. Many users are using Linux operating system as part of their life. They'll be using this operating system for their operation, for development of softwares, etc. Right? So it's a prominent example of free and open source software collaboration. Now let us see what is a free software and what is a open source software. So let's see what is open source software. What is open source software means? Source means source code. That open source software means the software source code is open. That means that the underlying source code may be used, modified and distributed commercially and non-commercially by anyone under licenses such as the GNU General Public License. That means here you know that when you want to develop a software or any kind of application, you need a program. Without program you cannot create any application. So when you same like the application here, when you consider the operating system, Linux operating system is also created using certain source code or program. So if you change any source code or program, the entire operating system will be changed, right? So open source means the source code of or the program of this operating system is open. That means anybody can see the programming code, they can edit, they can publish. That means those who know the programs, those who know the programming language, they can change the existing source code of the Linux operating system, but only condition is that they should be under the license such as GNU General Public License. If anybody is having general public license, they can go and edit the source code of this operating system. They can change the layout of the operating system. They can change the color combination of the operating system. They can change, they can include more functionalities to the operating system, etc. Suppose if you feel that one of the software under Linux is not working properly, or if you want to add more functionality into that, you can do that. only condition is that you need a software license. What is that license? General public license. That we will be discussing later on, right? And they can modify, those who have a GNU general public license, they can use the underlying source code, they can modify, and they can distribute numerically or non-numerically, but by anyone, right? So you can, if you have general public license with you, you can open the source code of open source Linux operating system. You can modify it, you can distribute numerically or non-numerically. Okay, so that's about open source software. So Linux is a kind of open source software. So what about free software? Open source software and free software is directly linked. What is that? Free software is a computer software distributed under terms that allows users to run the software for any purpose, as well as to study, change, and distribute it, and any adapted versions. Free software means you don't want to pay for this software, right? You don't want to pay for this software, it's free. For example, for Microsoft Windows, you know that if you want to use Microsoft Windows, you have to pay for the Windows operating system. If you are using pirated version, you will be culprit. Okay, so Windows operating system is a paid operating system. If you want to use that operating system, you have to pay for that. Okay, you have to pay for some amount, some dollars, right? And if you want to use that operating system numerically or non-numerically, if you want to distribute some applications by created using a Microsoft Windows operating system, you have to pay for that. Otherwise, that will be not fair. But in case of free software, there are plenty of free software available in internet. You can download and you can use it. You don't want to pay for that. For example, Linux operating system is a free software. You can download from internet. You can install it in your computer system. You don't want to pay for that, right? That is called as free software. So I hope you understood the difference between open source software and free software. Open source means the source code is free to everyone. Those who are having GNU general public license, they can modify, they can add new features, etc. Free software means a software which is free to everyone. You don't want to pay for that. Okay. Let us see the just history of Unix operating system. Unix development was started in 1969 at Bell Laboratories in New Jersey. So Unix has been started in 1969. Linux is the highest version, or another name of Unix. Okay, the first version of Linux was Unix, and it was started in 1969 at Bell Laboratories in New Jersey. Bell Laboratories was involved on the development of multi-user time-sharing operating system called Multics, that is called as Multiplexed Information and Computing System. That is in 1964 to 1968. Right, 1968 they released a operating system called as Multics. What is that Multics? Multics is a multi-user time-sharing operating system. It was developed in Bell Laboratories during 1964 to 1968. 1968 they released. The development was started in 1964. Okay, the first operating system of Bell Laboratories was Multics, Multiplexed Information and Computing System. It's an operating system used for multi-user time sharing, used as a multi-user time sharing operating system. Multics was failure. In early 1969, Bell Labs withdrawn from the Multics project. After the development of Multics, they felt that this operating system is not fit for their expected functionalities, their expected functions. So they removed Multics from the they withdrawn from the Multics project in 1969. The first version of Unix was written in the low-level PDP-7 assembler language. After Multics, at Bell Laboratories, some of the scientists from Bell Laboratories, they developed another operating system that is called as Unix operating system. Later, a language called TMG was developed for PDP-7 by R.M. McCuller, and the first version of Unix was written in low-level PDP-7 assembler language. After that, they developed in PDP-7 by R.M. McCuller, that is in TMG, a language called TMG. Minix is an inexpensive minimal Unix-like operating system designed for educational purpose. Another operating system is Minix. Minix is an inexpensive minimal Unix-like operating system especially designed for educational purposes. And starting with the Minix 3, the primary aim of development shifted from educational to the creation of highly reliable and self-healing microkernel operating system. So remember that Minix is an operating system which is used especially for and that is designed for educational purpose. Okay. Minix is now developed as an open source software. It was first released in 1987 with its complete source code made available to universities for study in course and research. Okay, and once it's developed for educational purpose, they are given to the students in various universities for the purpose of studying and research. For the purpose of study and research, they given to university students. Okay, so remember that during the history of Unix operating system, the first Unix operating system was Multics, and it was their multi-user time-sharing operating system. But later on, the scientists from Bell Laboratory, they came to know that this operating system is not fit for their purposes. So they withdrawn Multics from their project. After that, immediately after that, some of the scientists from Bell Laboratories, they came with another operating system which is called as Unix operating system in 1969. Okay, in 1969 at Bell Laboratories, Unix was developed, and later on the first version of Unix operating system was written using low-level PDP-7, that is a language, and later on they developed using TMG programming language, okay, by R.M. McCuller. And another operating system under this Unix development was Minix. Minix is actually designed for educational purposes. They developed that operating system and given to the university students for study and research. Okay, so this is, and it has been free and open source software since it was relicensed under BSD3 clause license in April 2000. There are many open source softwares which is created using Minix operating system. Now let us move on to GNU, General Public License. General Public License. What is General Public License? While discussing about the introduction of Unix operating system, we have seen that there is a GNU Public License. Those who have GPL license, GNU Public License, they can edit the source code I said. So what is GNU Public License? Linux and most GNU softwares are licensed under the GNU General Public License. Okay, the GNU General Public License is a series of widely used free software licenses that guarantee end users the freedom to run, study, share, and modify the software. When you write a software, if it is a free software, the users can edit, users can change, they can study, they can share and modify the software. So certain rules has been implemented for using the free software. Certain rules are there, you have to follow those rules. Those rules are called as set of widely used free software license that guarantee the end users the freedom to run, study, share and modify the software is called as GNU General Public License. Okay, it's a series of widely used free software licenses. It's a series of licenses. GNU is a series of licenses that guarantee the users, that guarantee the end users the freedom to run, study, share and modify the software. So those who are having general public license, they can the software, those are, that means if you have a software, if that software is having no public license, then you can go and edit the software source code. Okay, not only for editing, you can run, you can study, you can share, etc. The licenses were originally written by Richard Stallman, founder of the Free Software Foundation (FSF), for the GNU project, and grant the recipient of a computer program the rights of the free software definition. And it was written by, GNU public license was written by Richard Stallman, okay, founder of the Free Software Foundation. There is a foundation called FSF, that is Free Software Foundation, for GNU project, and it grants the recipients of computer program the right of the free software definition. Historically, the GPL license family has been one of the most popular software licenses in the free and open source software domain. So it has been a most popular software licenses. Okay. Prominent free software programs licensed under GPL include the Linux kernel and GNU compiler collection. These are the two software programs, Linux kernel and GNU compiler collection for free softwares. That's about GNU public license. Then let us move on to Linux tools. There are many software tools used in Linux, but we are not going to study all the tools. We study only one tool that is very important as far as the Linux operating system is concerned. That is called as Office tools. The name of that Office tool is OpenOffice. OpenOffice. Apache OpenOffice is an open source office productivity software suite. It's a software suite. It consists of softwares for Office, right? It's like Microsoft Office. It's like Microsoft Office package in Windows. It is one of the successor project of OpenOffice.org and designated successor of IBM Lotus Symphony. So it's a successor of projects OpenOffice.org and designated successor of IBM Lotus Symphony. Previously there was a software called as IBM Lotus Symphony, and IBM Lotus Symphony is the predecessor of OpenOffice. It is a close cousin of LibreOffice and NeoOffice. Okay, nowadays we can see the OpenOffice is been named as LibreOffice and NeoOffice. So it's OpenOffice is a cousin of close cousin of LibreOffice and NeoOffice. It contains a word processor, spreadsheet, presentation, drawing application, formula editor, and a database management applications. So what are these software OpenOffice software tools consist of? This OpenOffice package consists of several softwares. First software is a word processor, which is called as Writer. Second is a spreadsheet software, that is called as Calci. Third is a presentation application, that is called as Impress. Fourth is a drawing application called a Draw. And sixth is the formula editor Match. 7 is a database management application based. So total we have 6 software applications under this OpenOffice tools, OpenOffice package. Apache OpenOffice default file format is Open Document Format. Okay, default file format is ODF and ISO/IEC standard. It can also be write a variety of other file formats with particular attention to them from Microsoft Office. You can read it from Microsoft Office packages. Like if you want to open Microsoft Office Word document in OpenOffice Word processor, you can open it. Okay, so that's what it says. It can also read and write a variety of other file formats with particular attention to those from Microsoft Office. Suppose if you want to create a file format of Microsoft Office in OpenOffice Writer, that is also possible. The two way is there. Suppose if you created a Word document in Microsoft Office and you want that Office document to be updated in OpenOffice, that is in Linux operating system, you can open and you can edit, you can save, not a problem. Now when you want to create a document for Microsoft Office in OpenOffice word processor, you can do that. You can create a Word document, you can save as Microsoft Office Word document. Okay. Apache OpenOffice is developed for Linux, Mac OS and Windows with ports to other operating system. It was actually developed not only for Linux, it was developed for Mac OS and Windows also. It is distributed under the Apache 2.0 license. So there is a license called as Apache 2.0 license, which comes under GNU GPL, General Public License. The first release was version 3.40 on 8 May 2012. That was the first version of Apache OpenOffice. Oracle had improved Draw, that is adding SVG writer, adding ODF 1.2 and CalC in the OpenOffice org 3.4 beta release, though it is cancelled the project only a few days later. So the first release was in May 2012, 8 May 2012. That version is 3.40. After that there are some improvement in Draw application and writer application and also in CalC, but after some days that version was removed. That version is beta version of OpenOffice 3.0. Then after that 3.4, the version 3.4 was released in 8 May 2012. It different from the 13th month old of OpenOffice 3.4 beta mainly in license related details. Notably, the project removed both code and fonts which were under license unacceptable to Apache. They developed the OpenOffice 3.0 beta, but there are some problems in that. What is that problem? It is related to license related details. In that they used some fonts, but that font is not accepted by the Apache license. So they actually removed that version. Then version 4.0 was released 23rd July 2013. And what are the features of version 4.0? Features include merging the Symfony code drop, implementing the sidebar style interface from Symfony, improved install MS Office, interoperability enhancement and performance improvement. There are many features included in version 4.0. They directly we can incorporate Symfony code into OpenOffice org, and there is MS Office interoperability enhancement and also performance improvement. And another version is version 4.1 was released in April 2014. Various features lineup for 4.1 include comments on text ranges, in IA accessible 2 in place of editing of input field, interactive cropping, importing pictures from files and other improvements are there in 4.1. So in total, when you say in total, there are different versions for OpenOffice org. The first version was 3.4.0, that is released on 8 May 2012. After that there is a development of OpenOffice 3.4 beta release, but after some days they removed from their release because there are some problems related to license. And after that beta version, there is another version developed, that is 3.4, and many features has been included. That is on 8 May 2012 OpenOffice Apache OpenOffice 3.4 was released. After that there is a version 4.0 released in 23rd July 2013, There are many features included like MS Office interoperability, improved install, etc. And the last version is version 4.1, released in April 2014, and many features has been included at in-place editing of input field, interactive cropping, importing pictures from files, and other improvements. Right. Then let us move on to components of OpenOffice. What are the different components of OpenOffice org? What do you mean by components? What are the software tools used in OpenOffice package? The first software tool is Writer tool. Writer, that is called as word processor. What is word processor? Writer is a feature-rich tool for creating letters, books, reports, newsletters, brochures, and other documents. So Writer is a software in OpenOffice package where it is similar to Microsoft Office Word. All the functionalities used by Microsoft Word is also implemented in OpenOffice Writer. It is used for creating letters. We can create books, reports, newsletters, brochures, and other documents. You can create any kind of documents in Writer. You can insert graphics and objects from other components into Writer document. If you want to import graphics, if you want to import images, that is also possible. You can import other files to your Writer document, but only one thing is that it should accept it. Like if you are trying to upload a video into Writer document, that is not possible, right? So you should remember, you should keep in your mind that file format should be accepted by the Writer software. Then a Writer can export file to HTML. You can export to HTML, XHTML, XML, Adobe Portable Document Format, that is PDF, and several versions of Microsoft Office Word files. Okay, so you can save as XML, HTML, XHTML, PDF, etc. Right? It also connects to your email client as well. If you want to send a mail, if you want to send your document through mail without opening the browser window, you can directly connect with the Writer software. It also connects to your email client. And the second component of OpenOffice is CalC. CalC is called as spreadsheet. That is there in OpenOffice Excel. In Microsoft Office there is a tool called as Excel. The same thing can be used. The same operation can be used in Linux operating system by OpenOffice CalC. That is called as spreadsheet. CalC has all of the advanced analysis, charting, and decision making features expected from a high-end spreadsheet. So you can create a spreadsheet by using spreadsheet. You can analyze the data, you can chart the data, etc. You can create analysis, you can create chart, etc. It includes over 300 functions for financial, statistical, and mathematical operations, among others. You have 300 functions. The scenario manager provides what if analysis. CalC generates 2D and 3D charts which can be integrated into other OpenOffice documents. You can create 3D and 2D charts based on the input you have been in spreadsheet as a table, right? You can create different kinds of chart. Same like Microsoft Excel, right? Excel is a worksheet where you can write down certain mathematical data. The same mathematical data can be converted into display form like 2D or 3D chart. You can also open and work with Microsoft Excel workbook and save them in Excel format. If you want to save your workbook as Excel format, you can do that. CalC can also export spreadsheet into Adobe PDF format or HTML format. That is also possible. Let us move on to third Office tool, that is called as Impress, that is presentation. It is also same like Microsoft Office PPT, PowerPoint presentation. So here, instead of PowerPoint presentation, Linux operating system OpenOffice ORG uses OpenOffice Impress, that is also called as presentation. What is that? Impress provides all the common multimedia presentation tools such as special effects, animation and drawing tools. All the multimedia presentation tools has been implemented in Impress, so you can create it. Whatever you can see in your screen is a kind of Impress presentation. It's an example of Impress presentation. Okay, now whatever you see in your screen is an example of LibreOffice Impress, OpenOffice Impress. It is integrated with advanced graphic capabilities, OpenOffice documents or draw and math components. Okay, you can integrate draw and math components in Impress also. Slideshow can be further enhanced with the fontwork, special effects text, as well as sound and video clips. You can include sound, also video clips in this Impress. Impress is compatible with Microsoft PowerPoint file format and can also save your work in numerous graphics formats, including Macromedia Flash. Okay, it's also incorporated with Microsoft PowerPoint, and also you can export it as a Macromedia Flash. Then fourth one is Draw, that is vector graphics. What is Draw or vector graphics? It is another software in OpenOffice ORG. Draw is a vector drawing tool that can produce everything from simple diagrams or flowchart to 3D artwork. So it is mainly used for artwork. You can create images using this. Draw is a vector drawing tool. You can draw a vector that can produce everything from simple diagrams or flowchart to 3D artwork. You can convert it. Those who are very good in vector graphics, they can go for Draw. The smart connector features allow you to define your own connection points. You can use Draw to create drawings for use in any OpenOffice ORG documents, other components, and you can create your own clip art and add it to the gallery. Okay, you can create a clip art, you can add it to gallery, etc. Draw can import graphics from many common formats and save them in over 20 formats, including PNG, HTML, PDF and Flash, etc. There are more than 20 formats. You can save as more than 20 formats. Okay, you can create a 3D image or 3D kind of artwork. You can save that as a PNG, that is image format. You can convert that into HTML. You can convert that into PDF, Flash, etc. Over 20 formats. And fifth one is Base, database. Okay, this is called as database. Base provides tools for day-to-day database work within a simple interface. You can store data. You can store data as table, that is called as database. Okay, you can store the data as a table. It can create, edit forms, reports, queries, tables, views and relations, so that managing connected database is much the same as in other popular database application. For example, Microsoft Access is another kind of database. Microsoft Oracle, Microsoft Server, Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, etc. There are many different database tools for storing the database data, that is table of data, in a particular format. Okay, so there we can use Base. It can create and edit forms, that is application forms. If you create an application for an application, many users may register through that form. So all the users' data has been stored in backend database as a table, right? So that table is stored in OpenOffice Base. You can store it in OpenOffice Base. Base provides many new features, such as the ability to analyze and edit relationship from diagram view. Okay, Base incorporates HSQLDB as its default relational database engine. It can also use DBase, Microsoft Access, MySQL or Oracle or any ODBC or JDBC compliant databases. Base also provides support for subsequent ANSI 92 SQL. So these are all different kinds of different kinds of database vendors like Microsoft Access, MySQL, Oracle, or any ODBC, JDBC compliant databases. Last one is Maths, that is called formula editor. Maths or formula editor. Math is a open office formula or equation editor. You can create the equation. You can use it to create complex equations that include symbols or characters not available in standard font set. Suppose you want to create an equation that is not available in LibreOffice Writer. You can create the equation, you can save it. You can save it, and later on if you want to import that picture or the equation into your Word document, you can do it, right? While it is most commonly used to create formulas in other documents such as Writer and Impress file, Math can also work as a standalone tool. So Math is used for creating formulas. Okay, you can save formula in standard mathematical markup language MathML format for inclusion in web pages and other documents not created by OpenOffice org. Okay, that's it. If you have any doubts, you can send me through WhatsApp. Thank you.